Mike here from Magnus Box, coming at you today for another live Q&A session. Today I'm joined with the one, the only, Seth Byrne. How you doing today, Seth?
Doing good. Thanks, Mike.
And I have the hidden, Matt. How you doing today, Matt?
Doing all right.
Matt is joining us again for another live Q&A. So we have some new groups that we are streaming in today. So for those of you that don't know, Magnus Box is a white label backup provider. Specifically, we only work with MSPs. So we have a lot to cover. And in these monthly Q&As, we talk about what's going on, what we're working on, industry topics. Usually it somehow turns into a discussion about coffee. It just happens. So, but we definitely have a lot to discuss and show everyone with the release of our new features. Wednesday, we launched version 22.2.0, which was a huge feature release. We're going to do a live Synology setup on how to set up the backup software. And we're going to also answer some questions for our Q&A. So if you do have any questions or comments, please feel free to drop them in the chat. We do have Kelsey moderating in the background to help guide us to make sure that everything goes smoothly here. And we are giving away a 50-pack of Rackstuds Duos along with some sweet Magnus Box swag. So feel free to chime in and we will talk about whatever you want on the air. So Seth, how's everything been going? Everything's been going good lately, or?
Yeah, I just got back from a break from school. We had spring break, and that was a really nice time to kind of relax. And I also took off the week from Magnus Box. So I'm back and with more energy than ever, or maybe not than ever, but more energy than I had 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I gotta imagine it was probably a lot nicer there than it was here in Michigan. So most of our team is from Michigan. Actually, everyone is from Michigan here. So we're hoping to change that soon. We're actually looking to hire a new support technician in the near future. So that's going to be exciting. We might have a fifth person or a fourth person on our next Q&A. You never know. But Matt, how's everything going your way?
I'm doing all right. I've been thinking of actually quitting coffee sometime.
Yeah, I had to quit all caffeine. I did actually have a sip of some popular day after my cardiac event. So good luck. Hopefully you're not addicted to it like I was.
No, I already am.
Matt, I have to give you a hard time because I told you I was giving up coffee and you berated me, and now you're doing the same thing.
Well, I don't know. I'm doing it mostly for sleep reasons. But I don't know.
Whoa, wait a minute.
You can make fun of me now too.
You guys actually sleep?
Fair enough.
I try.
Someone's got to sleep around here.
One of us has to sleep. I spent 6 hours in the data center on Saturday rewiring our Nexus cluster, completely rewiring it from scratch. I forgot how painful it gets as you get older, that doing that level of commitment and rewiring a whole server cluster is not a smart move in one day. I'll make Matt do it next time. He's still got caffeine in his system.
So anyway, we have a pretty cluster now, though.
It is. We optimized it and we took care of some heating issues that we were having because now we got better airflow. Just got to work on cleaning up my cables a little bit more, but it is what it is. So let's jump into some topics here. So I think that we need to go over our new features that we have. What do you guys think?
Sounds like a good idea.
I'm going to share my screen. It's going to go all crazy. So hopefully everyone can see this. So Magnus Box 22.2.0, we did release this Tuesday evening, a day ahead of schedule. So some of the most notable features is that support for U2F, which is the YubiKeys, that was removed because it was going away with Chrome. However, it moved over to the WebAuthn protocol. So you can still use your YubiKeys if you use them. TOTP was not affected. There's going to be actually more ways to secure your accounts now with that. Some of the most notable features, because there was a lot, is that you can now create an ISO file as the recovery media for doing a disk image restore. So before you could only create a flash drive, which was great, except if you didn't have a flash drive or if you wanted to restore through AWS, Azure, or boot to the ISO, it was very difficult. You had to convert the file. So it's pretty simple to set up, and we'll show that in a few moments here. The if last job feature was fixed. Basically, it was broke for a little while. I wouldn't say it was broke, but if a computer was going to sleep or hibernating and then it woke back up, if it was off for 3 or 4 days, it did not realize that it was powered off. The software didn't. So this fix made it so that way if a computer goes to sleep or hibernates, once it powers back up, it will back up if it did not back up during its last scheduled session. One of the major new features is that you can now restore a single file and folder from a disk image backup. So prior to this release, we recommended that partners do a file and folder backup along with a disk image. They complement themselves really well. They work together in tandem as long as the data is going to the same vault. They would detect that the other backup already grabbed that data and it would not back up that data a second time. This new feature allows you to pull individual files from a disk image, which was not possible before, which is why we always recommended having a file and folder and a disk image. So it's just another added bonus. There was a way to do it previously, but you had to restore the whole image, run 7-zip, extract the file you wanted. It was feasible, but it was pretty difficult. I know Barry had an issue with that, and that's one of the features that he wanted in this release was being able to restore a single disk image, a file from disk image. And the major release in this, or the major feature in this release, is that we now natively integrate with Synology. This was, I think, want to say hotter than Office 365 and disk image, which are the two major features that came over the last 2 years. Synology was feasible, but you had to be a terminal wizard or use command prompt to install it manually. So this actually gives you a GUI to install it simply through the Synology manager. And I'll be showing that here as well, setting up my own Synology. I know we tried to build this ourselves, but it was very tedious. I think there was quite a few issues that we ran into, weren't there, Matt?
Yeah, there were, and much of the same that that are still present, like with permissions. I think a few people complained about permissions actually.
Yeah, and setting the permissions is very difficult. If it's very tedious within Synology. If you're running DSM-6, you have to go in and tell it to allow the package. DSM-7, they don't let anything run as root, and they don't let you modify the permissions on anything through Synology. I give Synology credit. They made their platform more secure, but there are still some caveats along with even using the integrated solution as opposed to installing it ourselves. Because I can tell you, we did a lot of manual Synology setups in the past year. I want to say easily I did at least 20 or 22. Like, we got it down to a science where we could do it in like 15 minutes. I don't know how many you guys did, but I know I did quite a few over the last year.
There were a decent amount. While we're kind of going through the feature list here, I couldn't remember, did you want to save questions till after? There's a question about the Synology package.
Absolutely. So if you want to go ahead and read off that question, since I'm on a single screen here.
Yeah, it was, is there still a limitation with the supported CPUs for the Synology package?
It is in our KB articles. It says that pretty much the ARM v6 and ARM v7, if I remember. Does that sound about right, Matt? Was the limitation that was supported?
I'll take a look at it and confirm it in a moment. But yeah, there were a couple exclusions, I'm pretty sure.
We did find one partner that had a Synology box that was kind of had a weird chip in it. We are working on a workaround to add it so that way it is supported through that package.
Yeah, so it's supported for x86, 64, i686, ARM v7, or ARM v8s.
I was off. I don't know why I keep focusing on v6, but yeah, v7, v8.
So those are the ones that are supported.
Yep, and like I said, there is a few Synology boxes, and I don't have the exact model number. I'd have to check it in the ticket that we have. If one of you guys want to grab it from my queue, there's a specific processor that said that we have to go in and manually add it, which it isn't a big deal. That's what Matt's good at. So we can modify that package and fix it for anyone that is affected. But we feel it's an isolated incident. Any other questions there, Seth?
I know that's the only one we had so far.
Perfect. And just keep them coming, guys. Like I said, we are giving away some swag here at the end. Some of the other notable things is that you can now search. There's now a search bar at the top of the web portal as well that you can search for users and vaults. And then there's just some enhancements in quality of life improvements, such as fixing some DPI scaling issues on Windows, and then a few other ones. But this is all available on our website. Go into magnusbox.com and then just go over to the menu bar and go to news and updates, and it'll be the first one on the left here. Okay, so Seth, do you think we should jump into Synology or should we jump into the web portal, the updates?
I say Synology, since we had a question on that, we can kind of transition pretty smoothly.
Absolutely. So I'm actually going to cheat and bring up our KB article. So if you go to support.magnusbox.com and you go over to under backup types, Synology Backup, and we have the KB article here that will tell you how to install it. Two of the limitations that we have found so far were that remote upgrade and uninstall is currently not supported. This is mainly because Synology does not allow any app outside of their own to run as root. So it means that if there is a feature update that affects Synology, you would just have to download the SPK file and reinstall it, which shouldn't be too big of an issue. The other is if you're performing a restore to a Synology NAS, permission ownership may not restore correctly because a package user is not allowed to chown. So that's where you change the permissions, as I mentioned earlier. So my Synology that I'm going to test on today is DSM version 6. But if you're using DSM version, I'm on DSM version 7. If you're using version 6, you will have to follow these instructions here before you get started. You will have to go into settings, general, and trust level, and allow any publisher to allow a third-party app to be installed manually. It's a very minor inconvenience. So we're going to jump over to my Synology here. Nothing fancy. I just use this as my private file server here. So we currently don't have the backup software installed. So the first step is you're going to go to your backup server, and you're going to go to the download button, and you're going to go to the Synology section here, and you can see here you can download DSM 6 or 7. Also, the requirements are listed down here as well for the operating system and the CPU. I'm going to download the DSM 7 package. They are not interchangeable, so you can't put 7 on 6 and you can't put 6 on 7. And that has been downloaded. And I believe you can tell what version of DSM you are running through by going to Control Panel, and then I went to Updates, and then within there you'll see right here it says current DSM version is 7.0.1. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to go to the Package Center, and you're going to go to the Manual Install option, and you're going to select the SPK file that you downloaded from your Magnus Box web portal. And then you're going to hit next, and then just wait, and it'll go through the steps it's going through on the back end and installing it, which is way easier than manually doing it, if I have to say so myself.
Maybe you're just bad with the command line.
Ooh, I see what you did there, Matt. Hey, I'm a Nano user, and I had to learn how to use, I think it's like Vim or V. I had to take a crash course quick and learn how to use it. I'm all Nano.
Yeah, Nano is nice.
It is. I mean, they all have their pros and cons. Nano's like the entry level, easy to use. You know, you get into the higher ones. You can do a lot of scripting with it and whatnot, or you can use key commands to make it do what you want.
Yeah, this is a lot more straightforward though. Like, it's not nice when someone wants to install it and you just send them like a set of instructions.
Exactly. This is the way easier way to install it, especially if anyone can do it. It's just going to take a moment. My Synology is not a high-end one. I'm just running a 220. Okay, so it gives us a warning saying if this package is provided by a third-party developer and is not verified by Synology.
Real quick, Mike.
What's that?
A quick comment was Robert Davis is following along in his Synology, so he said slow down.
Just for you, Robert, I will personally slow down. Okay, I think we're good now. So basically, it's just saying that, hey, use this own app at your own discretion, that something bad could happen. That's Synology's way of staying out of it. If you want to, you can read through the license agreement. I recommend just hitting the accept button. Okay, so here it's gonna look a little bit different because I had this installed yesterday, but it's gonna stay the same as far as you're gonna want to make sure that your server URL is in this box. Because you downloaded the SPK from your server, it should automatically be filled in there. And then you're gonna use the backup credentials, not your admin credentials. We get that comment a lot, that people are trying to use their admin credentials. You need to use the backup account credentials that you created by using the add user option. So I'm going to put my username for my backup account, and because I don't know my passwords, copy, paste. 9 times out of 10, if this doesn't work, it's because the password was wrong. So once you have that in there, you're going to hit next. Just going to review here, just talks about the tool, who made it, the version, and we're going to make sure it says run after installation and hit done. Wait another moment here.
And just a quick note on the aspect of slowing down. We will put out a tutorial video based off the live stream here within the next, I don't know, day or a couple of days or so. So if you don't catch what we're doing here, or if you do and you want to kind of go back and review it, there will be a video posting in the next few days or so.
Exactly. Kelsey's actually using this Q&A and repurposing it for a training session, which now she's got to cut this section out. So, okay, so now that it's installed, you'll see it here. It shows the date, and it is installed. So now once it says installed, you should be able to go back to your web portal. There is nothing else you can do from the Synology box at this point. You're all done over here, except for permissions. Almost forgot that, guys. So with DSM-7, we have to give it some special permissions, which is covered down here. Normally, you would use an existing account with DSM-6. But for DSM-7, you will have to give it permission. So I'm just going to go through that quick here, only on 1 or 2 folders because I have quite a bit on my Synology. So I'm going to go ahead and edit my user permissions. So we're going to go into File Station. Actually, I think I got that wrong. Let me triple check here. Oh, yep, I was completely wrong. I'm going to go into Shared Folders. There we go. Control Panel, Shared Folders. And now I'm going to choose the Magnus Box one because that makes the most sense. Hit Edit, and then we're going to go over to Permissions. And you can see here we have our local users, but we need the system internal users. And from there, this one's already selected because it was set up yesterday, but you would find the backup tool account, which is listed in that KB article, and go to Custom. And then from there, you would make sure that you check all 3 for administration, read, and write. Leave everything else default and hit Done, and then Save. And that will allow the Magnus Box tool to go into that directory and back up that data without any issues. You may still get some permission issues on the recycle bin. It's kind of a little bit of a gray area that I noticed last night when I was testing, but you would then be able to go over to your web portal and set up your backup. So I'm going to go into my backup server, find my user account. Oh, guys, it bombed on me. It should be showing up here. So normally you would see your Synology device showing up here with its device name. Mine said Magnus Box. You would then go to the protected items, add protected items, and just follow your normal steps for creating a Synology backup. You would only be allowed to do file and folder, give it a nice name, go to items. You would then select the items from the Synology that you allowed permissions on. It would be towards the bottom of the list, and then set up your schedule. And then from there, you could save and trigger a backup. And so from there, all of the backup would be happening on the Synology device. It would handle the encryption, the offloading, and the pushing the data. So you don't have to use a proxy device. Now, the other thing to note is that if you have a Synology that's kind of on the lower end, like the one I'm running is a 220, I believe, a 220J. It's a lower end model because that's all I need for my personal use. If you have a ton of data, that encryption and the amount of memory in that device could cause the device to slow down a little bit. You may need to do something like rate limit the bandwidth going out of it. There's so many factors that go into it, but if you have the appropriate device, one that has some moderate memory to it, a good network connection, you shouldn't see too much of an impact. But you can also do things like set up alternating schedules so that way you're not backing up during business hours. And you can also set the backup jobs to cancel out after they've ran for so long. So if you guys have any questions regarding Synology Backup, feel free to open a ticket by emailing support@magnusbox.com.
Speaking of questions, Mike.
Yeah.
Robert just wanted clarification on the user account we needed to input into that field to assign it to the correct customer.
Yep. So you would grab that information, Robert, by going back to your accounts tab and find the account that you want to assign that Synology to. So mine obviously messed up, so don't follow my video at that point. But from there, you would just use your user account, which for me, it's my email address, or it could be whatever user account is here. That's your username you'd use. And then you would use the password for that backup account that you created when you created that account. So it's within these two fields. So you would use these ones here that you inputted in the beginning.
Thanks, Mike.
Absolutely. And if anyone has any questions about that, feel free to reach back out. I have a feeling that my Synology didn't show up because I had it on there earlier today, and I didn't purge out all the information. So that's probably where my error came in.
Robert just said his didn't work either.
Yeah, if he's had Synology on it before, we'll take a look at that. So if it's not working for you, Robert, just feel free to email support, and one of us will get back to you here after the live stream.
It might also be sometimes there are issues like when you first install it, you just need to restart the package or Synology, and that sometimes fixes it too.
Yeah. Matt was one of the ones that helped put together installing Synology in the first place, so he has a little bit more experience here than I do. Right, Matt?
I think so.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, we'll give it to you. So yeah, if any more Synology questions come up, just feel free to let us know. I know for like mine, I created a dedicated vault within my backup account for Synology, just because if I know people with their Synology devices, they probably have a mess of data, a massive amount of data in their vault in that device. So I created a dedicated Synology vault just by going to the Add New Vault. I selected the storage cluster here at Magnus Box, and then I just renamed it to Synology. Just kind of keeps it organized a little bit. I kind of like separating a vault, especially if you know you're going to have more than 2 or 3 terabytes. It's always good to do a little bit of a separation there. So, any other questions for that one, guys? I think I covered everything.
Looks like it, yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to switch gears here a little bit, and I want to show everyone how to download that new ISO file for disk image backup. So we'll see if I can mess everything up here. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and hide this. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to go over to the Settings tab. Once you open it up on the endpoint, you can only download the ISO file from the endpoint itself. It is not specific to the device. It's specific to the backup account. So if you wanted to have a specific set of drivers, like let's say you had a server that had some critical drivers that had to be there, you would then want to create the ISO file from that device. But 9 times out of 10, the disk image is not rely on the drivers, and you should be fine. So it's easy to set up. You're just going to go to Settings, click on Recovery Media. From there, you'll get the prompt, and it will ask you if you want to create a flash drive, which we recommend a 2 gigabyte all the way to 16 gigabyte flash drive. Anything larger than that, we've seen issues with it not creating a file or not detecting it. So try to stick to a 2 gig to 16 gig flash drive. And then the second option is to create the ISO file that will let you boot right into Magnus Box's interface. So you just select that. You tell it where you want the ISO to be created. For me, I could just throw it on the desktop, hit save, and then you would hit next. From there, you can then choose to copy the drivers from this PC, or if you have them, you can add the drivers to that ISO file. And you can even add some startup commands as well. We don't usually see too much of that, but it allows you to create that ISO. And then once you're done, you just hit next, and it will generate that ISO. Should be a pretty quick process. And it'll just go through from there. And then you can use that to burn it to a CD, put it on a flash drive using a tool such as like Rufus. That's one of my go-tos for creating a bootable flash drive. I'm sure Matt and Seth have a different tool that they would use to create bootable flash drives, but that's the one that I use. It's freeware as well. That's pretty reliable.
There were a couple questions in chat, Mike. One of them was on Synology, and we can kind of come back to that one in a second, but we did have a question about the disk image, the ISO. Should that be regenerated and re-downloaded every time a new version of Magnus Box is pushed?
Yes, we would definitely recommend that. It really depends on the version and what changed in the version, but we should always suggest that, let's say, today we're running 22.2.0. The previous version was 21.1.3. You would want to make sure that your ISO match the version that you want to restore to. Is it the end of the world? No, but if there was some kind of a significant patch within that ISO, it could cause some issues. And so we'd always recommend that you regenerate that ISO. And it is a quick process. It only takes a few minutes. And we only release new updates usually monthly or quarterly. So we try not to make it difficult for everyone. But if you also need help with getting that ISO or anything, just reach out to us. We're more than happy to assist you with generating that ISO file as well.
And there's also one more. Is the cost for Synology Backup the same as a workstation or a server?
So that's a great question, and I completely forgot to cover that when we did the press release information, so I do apologize for that. Synology at this time is going to be billed at a server level. Even though we're unlimited storage at this point, we still have a very real cost behind the scenes. I mean, Nexus, we have to pay for data centers, hard drives, our other data centers and storage clusters, we have to pay those providers as well. So the reason why it's 17 is because, as Kelly posted in the Facebook group on one of my Synology comments last night, he had 60 terabytes on his Synology. Number one, 60 terabytes is a massive amount of data. That would take forever to upload. So our recommendation is upload and back up the things that are essential to your clients and to yourself that you can't live without. 60 terabytes would probably take, depending on your bandwidth, I'd say it'd probably take a good couple months. Wouldn't you say, Seth or Matt?
Yeah, especially given the resources of a Synology, they're not going to get maximum upload speeds anyway, and that's a large amount of data. Sorry, Matt, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I don't know. Sorry. We were saying the same thing.
Matt just pulled a ditto move. He does that in our tickets every now and then. We'll put a comment and he'll just paste it for us. He helps us out.
Yeah.
So hopefully that answered your question. So Synology will be billed at the server level. There is no codes you need to put at the end of the device name. Our internal billing system automatically detects the Synology operating system. Will automatically assign it to the server billing code, if I remember correctly, Seth.
That is correct, yep.
Perfect. So it's all automated. No more doing -SRVs or workstation or anything like that. The only time you got to use a billing code at the end of a device is if it's a not for resale license. You just have to do a -NFR on it. And every partner does get 3 not for resale licenses that you can use on your own equipment, or even though it's not for resale, you can sell it to your client. We're not too picky. You get 3 of them for every partner that we have. So anything else you think we need to cover regarding the interface stuff, Matt?
No, I think the main thing is, like you said, the ISO. Everything else has stayed pretty much the same in the endpoint application.
Yeah, and one of the big features that I kind of have found here pretty useful is this new search bar in the upper corner. You can search for devices or storage vaults as well. So I can search a user account. We have a few partners that have over 120 storage or user accounts or backup accounts. So trying to find a specific one, this makes it a little bit easier. So nice little feature, quality of life improvement. So I think that's all we had for the disk image. Was there anything else that we had specific on our list to talk about today?
we talked a little bit briefly beforehand about maybe mentioning this storage clusters and kind of our plans in the next 8 to 10 months.
Yes. So storage clusters, I apologize, guys. I'm very passionate about that. I transitioned from doing everything here at Magnus Box to piecing off my job to Matt, Seth, and Kelsey, and I've really focused on running Magnus Box, helping with support, building, and data center stuff. And I am in love with working inside data centers. I don't know what it is, but there's just something about the peace and quiet, and everything just works, you know? So Nexus was built exactly 1 year ago, which is amazing. Nexus was a proof of concept cluster to see what the feasibility would be of bringing our own data in-house. So currently we're we're leasing, I should say, or renting space from existing data centers around the United States, European Union. Obviously we can't fly out to Europe every time we got to make an adjustment. So we lease space. It's an added cost. It costs more. So Nexus was our test case, our test cluster, and it has gone very well. We've only had 2 outages in the last year with Nexus, and those were both due to acts of God. The fiber connections, we had a massive storm in Michigan, 2 separate fiber lines that feed into the data center that are in geographically separate locations were taken out. And I never forget when one of the alerts from the fiber provider was, the fiber is on fire. That's when I just looked at my phone and knew it was time to go back to bed and deal with it in a few hours. So Nexus has been very successful. We financed it through a local financial institution, paid it off 2 years ahead of schedule, and it cut our costs by 70% by hosting our data internally. And there is that risk of extra maintenance and managing it, but it's been pretty low maintenance, if I have to say so myself. The main, what? Let me choke up there. I get so passionate about clusters. I just choke up on them. The main thing we're concerned about is like maintenance. You know, if I leave town, who's going to fix something if something goes south? Luckily, we have remote hands with the data center. Seth and Matt can get in there. But as of right now, our goals for this year for data centers is we are hoping to add Canada, because we turned away so many Canadian MSPs last year. A lot of it came down to their healthcare laws. I think they call it PIPEDA or PIPEDA. Ours is HIPAA. So a lot of them couldn't join us because the data can't stay in Canada. So we're hoping to have a Canadian data center at the end of 2022. We're also going to be building a second cluster within our Saginaw, Michigan data center right next to Nexus. It'll be the next rack right over from the original one. So it's going to be a whole separate rack, whole separate cluster. They're going to be completely segregated. They're not going to be attached to each other or communicating with each other. But our goal is to start building that out. We're starting to put the plans in place to get some financing for that and to move forward with that and bring some more of our data in-house. Our goal over the next 5 years internally is to bring all of the data back under our control, because number one, we can increase our quality of service. Number two, we're not sharing the space with anyone else that could be hogging their lines. And 3, it would cut our costs and help us keep our status as unlimited. And I think that's everything that I had. You think I'm missing anything, guys? Because I sit here and for you guys every Monday at our sync meetings, our staff meetings, just talking about data centers. I think Matt's eyes glaze over.
Yeah, they kind of do. I mean, it'd be more fun if we got like involved a little bit more. But you're off in cluster land.
My head's just in a cluster.
Yeah.
Poor Matt had to do patch cables last time. We don't do those anymore. We're just doing straight patch cables going forward. We're just going straight to the switches instead of going into a patch panel.
Yeah, you manage them.
It's a lot nicer. So, but that's our goal. If anyone has any suggestions, if you think we're nuts, if you think we're on the right track, we are partner driven. So these decisions that we're making are part of the input that we get from our partners, which is why we are 100% partner supported. And we let you guys have a say in what we do.
Seth, what are you going to say?
Yeah, we do have a suggestion from one of the partners on that note, Mike. I'm pretty sure it's Kelly from Tech Troubleshooters. I can't see the username, but he says he'd prefer if you didn't die, referring to your coughing earlier.
February was a rough month. For those of you that weren't aware, I had a cardiac event. Funny enough, a Slurpee almost killed me. I just there's a nerve right next to the esophagus that goes right next to the heart, and it triggers my heart to go into AFib, and it was 4 hours of pain. And being scared. And I just want to thank everyone who sent me love and support. I got so many great messages from our partners. Our team stepped up to the plate. I think my wife, Tracy, called Seth in a panic saying I was dying. Yeah. Seth thought he was going to have to step up to the plate and run things over here a little bit more. But
It was scary. I'm glad you're back and in full health and all that.
Yep. So the 3 things are no more Slurpees for the rest of my life or extremely cold drinks. 2, no more caffeine. And 3, lose weight. The curse of every IT person. I mean, what are we going to do without our caffeine, guys? So I appreciate the love and support that I've gotten from everyone. But yeah, any other topics that we have for today? I think we're actually doing pretty well.
I think so too. Just curious, how many people did we have from Canada that asked about a Canadian storage cluster?
I think we had about 20, roughly, give or take, probably 4 or 5. I know one of them, whenever we do a demo, I try to keep track, and everyone's first question that's from Canada is, do you have data centers in Canada? And it's like, not yet. I mean, I was looking at a data center 5 hours from our location here in Canada across the bridge. So I think that it is something that is much needed. I feel bad for our Australia and New Zealand partners because they kind of get the short end of the stick. So Kelly, I know, I'm sorry. I'm working on it, man. We're trying to get data over in your area of the world or over in your neck of the woods. We're getting there. It's very expensive over there. Data centers are not cheap over there in Australia and New Zealand. And we have a lot of partners from New Zealand as well. So all their data is going across the water into Saginaw or into Texas right now. Where are you at there? I see you said, don't forget about us. Where are you at?
It was Chris from Conex.
I think he's, I want to say New Zealand.
That's what I was thinking too, but I'm not sure.
I feel like New Zealand. I could be wrong. So I apologize if I'm wrong. Okay, but yeah, so I mean, if anyone has any other questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. Did you guys have any other topics you feel are noteworthy, what we're working on coming up here?
I don't have any off the top of my head.
You are working on a secret project, though, that we haven't disclosed yet. It's
Sure.
super secret.
Sure am.
You want to talk about it?
Sure. It's not like it's a new website, right? It's not gonna revolutionize the face of Magnus Box, but I suppose it will be the new face. It'll be your new address. But yeah.
With that attitude, you've got to have an attitude of revolution. It will revolutionize. It'll be groundbreaking, innovative, stunning.
I gotta think big. Yeah. So there have been a few. Mike was saying before that people either love our website or they hate it. It's for a few reasons, like just the onboarding process in general, getting started with Magnus Box. It's sort of, it can kind of feel clunky, just based on what the website is right now. It works, like you can get through it, but we were thinking of just redoing it, making it a lot more simple, tearing down some of the extra scaffolding and just making it a lot simpler for people to sign up.
Yeah, when we built the last website, not the first one, because that was just a theme forest website, which, it served us well for a year. It was time to do a little bit of an upgrade, but we are going to go minimal on it, as it was posted in the comments here. The current one was built, and I pretty much told the website developer, I want this thing to be flashy. I want it to be like in your face, and I want people to go, wow. And it's a little too wow, like to the point where there's literally no way to sign up for our service on the homepage. We actually had to have them put a pop-up box that pops up once you get past the, comparing us to Crash Plan. Thank you. It's like it pops up automatically, it says ready to sign up, and it's because they didn't put it there. So new one's going to be a little bit it's going to be a lot more user-friendly, easier to sign up for a trial or just jump right into a paid account. The trials are great for 7 days, but to be honest with you, we're not hard up on billing. We're pretty easygoing. Just easier just to sign up because then you can get the full experience. It's pretty difficult to fully test a backup solution in 7 days. And we had it at 14, but at that point, people just kind of forget about it after the 14 days. So.
Yeah, and in the future too, we're also thinking about just making the transition just more seamless. So you'd just be able to sign up for a trial, and then it would automatically roll over to a paid account if you provided like payment information.
We're hitting some growing pains again. Every year we go through a few different growing pains. Our billing system is a little bit of a constraint at this time, and trying to sign up and get everyone on auto pay is a constraint as well. Our current infrastructure does not support either of those things. You have to kind of really work to get to that section of doing what you want. So there's like three different websites to manage your account here. You got your support, you got your billing, and you got your backup portal, or your backup server that we're hosting for you. So, and Seth, are you working on anything big these days?
No. I have high ambitions for this summer, nothing in particular, but right now just kind of trying to keep up with support tickets and stuff.
Yeah, support tickets haven't been too horrible. It's, we've been managing pretty well, except, Matt jumps in and he just goes all
there were like 20 of them this morning.
I mean, 20. I'm curious, how many support tickets does some of our MSPs get in one day? Because 20 in the day isn't too horrible. I mean,
yeah, that is true. And like when I used to work different job IT, like there's just like a crazy number of tickets. So this is relatively tame compared to probably what a lot of other people are seeing.
I feel that we're lucky because we're channel only. We don't sell to the public. We don't sell to end users at all. In fact, we had someone recently email and want to sign up with a Gmail account, and I was like, "Are you an MSP?" No. I'm like, "Well, I can send you to one of our MSPs," and they they didn't want to deal with that. So we do push end users to our partners local to them, but I gotta say we're pretty lucky that 20 sounds pretty rough for us, but I mean, considering all of our clients are MSPs and are technically inclined, it's not too horrible. I couldn't imagine some of the tickets that like Robert gets in a day.
Yeah,
we
get them resolved pretty quickly.
Yeah, and some of them are just simple. You're doing great, or yep, that looks great. I agree. Channel only was a great move for us. I tried selling to the world day one, didn't go well. So we're glad to be channel only. We're sponsoring a lot of tech communities now. We got the IT Bog, good old Mike Smith and the Mike Tech Show. If you're listening, hi Mike. We also have MSP Unplugged. I think I said that one already, didn't I? I think I said IT Bog. See, that's what happens when you don't have coffee. But yeah, we got IT Bog, Mike Tech Show, MSP Unplugged. We are officially sponsoring TechCon 2022 in Chicago. We'll be dropping some information on that soon. So we have a lot of communities that we're working with. Tech Tribe is another one that we're partnering with, and we're looking into a few others as well. Just try to get us out there and just try to keep giving back to the community.
Sounds great.
Chris, my favorite ticket is when we close it, and then someone replies back with thanks or okay, and I got to open up my phone and hit the close button again. But I think that's everything we got. I mean, unless anyone has anything else they want to share with our amazing partners and the different groups that we're in.
No, I just have one very important question for you, Mike.
Uh-oh.
Are you wearing any green today?
I am not.
You deserve a pinch. It's St. Patrick's Day.
Well, the lucky thing is that you're nowhere near me, Seth. The final piece I would like to add to our group is that we did make a massive investment into G2. G2 is a software review solution. If you have not seen it, it's in all of our ticket responses. If you like what we're doing, I know it's going to sound crazy. It takes like 5 to 10 minutes to do a review through G2, but we love getting the feedback. We review every one of them. We respond to every one of them. Even if you reply in our tickets, we look through all of them. If you have a chance, go to our page on G2, leave us a review. We are giving away a $25 Amazon gift card to every single one that leaves us a review. Our new statistics report from G2 is coming out the end of this month, and we are doing pretty good on that list, if I do say so myself. We're pretty high up there for reviews against all of our competitors in this space in the backup industry. So we do love getting them. We are giving back, and we are still doing the promotion where for every 10 reviews, we will select one of those 10 lucky people to win a pack of Rackstuds Duos. Those things are freaking amazing. I finally used Rackstuds in a server cabinet I was working on. So much better than cage nuts. Stop using cage nuts unless it's over 40 pounds. So Yeah, I can see about posting the G2 link. Does anyone have it there? We will. Actually, I can possibly grab it quick here. If you guys want to throw in idle chat while I'm grabbing it.
What about you, Matt? Are you wearing any green?
What would you consider to be? Because I'm wearing like some pants and they have like a little bit of green on them, just like a little bit, not like a whole green shirt, but I do have green, so you can't pinch me.
Is it noticeable from a distance of like 10 yards?
I thought green was green.
But if I have to like bring out like a magnifying glass, I don't think that counts.
That's not magnifying. Like you can see it. Like if we were like within talking distance, you could probably see it.
Okay. I'll let it.
It's just like a small part.
Okay.
It's not prominent, but there is green.
Yep. So I failed, guys. I tried to grab the link. It's hidden in my inbox here.
Kelsey got it for you.
Does she have it?
Yep, she posted it in the Facebook.
There you go. And that should be the one that gets you the $25. In worst case scenario, if you don't get the $25, just reach out to me. Tell me you did it. We'll make it right with you. Like I said, we are pretty easy going on as far as that goes. Oh, right here's the link. Look at that. I actually found the right one here. I apologize, Kelsey. This one here should get you the $25 automatically. Oh, that went crazy on me. So, but yeah, that pasted weird. But yeah, so just go ahead and submit that review, and then if you do submit one, just give us a heads up, and then we can make sure to credit your account. Or anyway, we'll get you that $25 that you deserve. See, someone got the reward, and I hope you spend it on something good. So, but anyways, I think it's about time to sign off unless we have any other questions. So, Seth, Matt, I'm going to let you guys fight for it. What do partners do if they need to open a ticket with us?
Okay.
We're in trouble, guys. It's downhill from here.
Yeah. Go to support@magnusbox.com.
Yep, you can email support@magnusbox.com. We do check that box during our business hours, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., Monday through Friday, Eastern Standard Time. If you need to get a hold of us faster, let's say you send an email, you didn't get a response, because we do respond to all of our tickets the same day, depending on how crazy it is. You can also call us. We do have a phone number that actually one of the two of us will answer. Our phone number is 1-888-933-2975. And that if we don't answer, it's either we're in a demo, but it will go right into our ticketing system as well, which is pretty sweet. You can also send us a mail, snail mail, PO Box 329, Merrill, Michigan 48637. Seth does like coffee, or I think he's quitting now, so I guess you guys can't send coffee for expedited support services.
So it's not really quitting coffee though. He drinks it from time to time.
Yeah.
But Matt's right.
But anyway, you guys have a great day. We will see you next month for the April Q&A. Have a good one, guys.